This palace has 15 bedrooms, a private casino, an ice hockey rink, and a vineyard. It costs over $1 billion, and officially, nobody owns it. No name on the deed, no record in any government file, completely off the books. But investigators, journalists, and world leaders all believe the same thing. It belongs to one man. A man who earns an official salary of just $140,000 a year, yet somehow controls a fortune so large it makes Elon Musk look like he's struggling. Today, we're going deep inside the financial empire of Vladimir Putin. The hidden palaces, the secret bank accounts, the ghost companies, and the one revelation at the end of this video that even his closest allies don't want you to know. Stay until the end, because the last part, nobody talks about it. Let's start with what Putin wants you to believe. Officially, Vladimir Putin earns around $140,000 per year as president of Russia. He lives modestly. He serves his country. He's a man of the people. That's the story. Now here's the reality. In 2022, the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, one of the most respected investigative journalism networks in the world, published a landmark report. Their estimate? Vladimir Putin's real net worth, $200 billion. Not million, billion. That would make him, unofficially, the single richest person on the planet. Richer than Elon Musk, richer than Jeff Bezos, richer than Bernard Arnault. But here's the part that makes this story insane. Almost none of it is in his name. So how does a man hide $200 billion? Let's find out. When Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny published a 2-hour documentary about a mysterious palace on the Black Sea coast, it became the most watched Russian YouTube video in history. Over 120 million views in just days. The building? A 17,691 square foot mega mansion sitting on 168 acres of private land. It has a private casino, a hookah lounge, an ice hockey rink, a theater, a vineyard, a spa complex, and get this, its own no-fly zone enforced by the Russian government. The estimated cost of construction? Over $1.4 billion. And the deed? Listed under a series of shell companies connected to Putin's closest allies. But that's just one property. Investigators have linked Putin to at least 20 residences across Russia, including the Novo-Ogaryovo estate outside Moscow, complete with helipads and a private church. The Valdai retreat, a forest compound so secretive that locals are removed from the area whenever Putin visits. And a palace in Sochi that was expanded just before the 2014 Olympics at a cost that somehow exceeded the original Olympic budget itself. Total estimated real estate value tied to Putin? Conservatively over $4 billion. All hidden, all officially owned by someone else. And that's just the property. Wait until you hear about the yachts. In February 2022, something strange happened. The moment Russia invaded Ukraine and Western sanctions were announced, a fleet of superyachts linked to Russian oligarchs and Kremlin insiders suddenly vanished from European ports. They scattered across the globe, the Maldives, Dubai, Turkey, anywhere sanctions couldn't reach them. But 2 yachts stood out above the rest. The first, Graceful, an 82-meter superyacht, custom-built in Germany. Features include a swimming pool, a gym, a helipad, and interiors designed by a team that usually works on 5-star hotels. Official owner? A Russian state company. But intelligence sources and investigative journalists have long believed the real beneficiary is Putin himself. Estimated value, $87 million. Then there's the second one, and this is where it gets insane. A yacht so large, so secretive, that its ownership was buried under 6 layers of shell companies across 3 different countries. The Scheherazade. 140 meters long, making it one of the largest private yachts on Earth. Estimated cost, $700 million. It has a swimming pool, a gym, a submarine dock, a full spa, a cinema, 2 helipads. And for 2 years, nobody officially knew who owned it, until investigators traced the crew and found that every single staff member had worked for the Russian Federal Protective Service, the agency responsible for one job only: protecting Vladimir Putin. Before we get to the most insane revelation in this video, make sure you like this video and subscribe for more luxury stories like this. It genuinely helps the channel, and the next part, you will not see it coming.
Here's what most people get wrong about Putin's wealth. It's not sitting in a Swiss bank account. It doesn't work like a billionaire's portfolio. It works more like a shadow kingdom. Here's how investigators believe the system operates. Step 1. Control the resources. Russia sits on some of the largest oil and gas reserves on the planet. Companies like Gazprom and Rosneft are technically state-owned, but their leadership is filled with Putin loyalists. When these companies profit, those profits don't just go to Russia. A portion flows to a network of businessmen, known as oligarchs, who act as custodians of Putin's personal wealth. Step 2. The oligarch vault system. Men like Gennady Timchenko, Arkady Rotenberg, and others in Putin's inner circle are believed to hold assets on his behalf, not their money, his money, stored under their names. This is why Putin's official salary means nothing. He doesn't need a bank account when your friends are collectively worth hundreds of billions and owe everything to you. Step 3. The ghost companies. From the British Virgin Islands to Cyprus to Luxembourg, a maze of shell companies, trusts, and holding structures that makes the money virtually untraceable. Forensic accountants who have spent years trying to follow the trail say the same thing. Every time you think you found the end, there's another door. And this brings us to the part nobody wants to say out loud.
While Putin's secret fortune sits in palaces, yachts, and ghost companies across the world, the average Russian earns around $700 per month. Pensioners choose between food and heating in winter. Soldiers sent to fight in Ukraine were reportedly given Soviet-era equipment, some dating back decades. And yet, the money was always there. Investigative organization Transparency International estimates that corruption drains between $30 to $50 billion from the Russian economy every single year. That's money that should be building hospitals, schools, roads. Instead, it builds palaces on the Black Sea. It fills the fuel tanks of $700 million yachts. It sits in shell companies in islands that most Russians will never visit. And here is the detail that no one talks about. When Western nations froze Russian assets after the Ukraine invasion, they found approximately $300 billion in Russian central bank reserves frozen across Europe. But here's the question every economist is asking. If $300 billion in official reserves were frozen, and the estimated shadow fortune is another $200 billion, where did the other $200 billion come from in the first place? The answer, according to investigators, is simple. It came from Russia, from its oil, its gas, its people. Quietly moved, carefully hidden. Over 23 years in power.
Vladimir Putin's $200 billion fortune isn't just a story about one man's greed. It's a story about how power really works, about how wealth can be invisible when the right people are protecting it, about how an entire country's resources can be quietly redirected while the world watches. And the palace on the Black Sea? It's still there, still empty, still officially owned by nobody. So let me ask you this. Do you think Putin will ever be held accountable for this wealth? And if you could expose one world leader's secret fortune next, who would it be? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If this video opened your eyes, hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps more people find this story. Subscribe and ring the bell, because next week we're going even deeper into the world's most powerful secret fortunes. I'll see you in the next one.